Dan, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's I've been wanting to do this for a while. I was trying to think how we met, just so people got some context for this.
Yeah.
So it was in London, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I think it was some kind of naff competition for... was it Go Think Big? Was that a thing?
Oh, I don't know. You can remember the name, can't you?
Yeah, I think it was something like that. Yeah, it was...
There was a few of us, wasn't there?
Yeah.
But you're the only one that stuck out to me.
Well, you know, I try. Once met, never forgot.
That skimpy skirt you were wearing, I was like, I couldn't say no.
I do try.
And then we sort of kept in touch a little bit, and then didn't see each other for years.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years ago, we went back to Scotland.
That's right.
Did a bit of a shoot, realised how much of a deviant you are,
Wow.
and
yeah.
I am,
Yeah.
and it was good, and that got us back into it.
Yeah.
I thought we'd start at the beginning, really, about what is fieldcraft in wildlife photography, because people talk about it, but I feel like no one kind of defines what it is.
Yeah, it seems to be the sort of thing that every it's kind of a bit of a cliche. People say, "Oh, it's the most important thing." Fieldcraft. What's that? Not a clue. To me, it's basically spending the time, fair percentage of the time, away from the field, learning about what you want to go after first and foremost, reading up on it and kind of researching it. Then that'll put you in a better position when you actually get out into the field to try and go after what you want. But yeah, it's basically just the knowledge of what you want to find, as well as being able to read the signs that the critters are leaving behind.
And I guess, I suppose you could read a book, but it's the sort of thing you could easily learn by just going out and seeing it and observing
yeah,
it.
absolutely, yeah. I've always said it from starting photography, that time outside is never time wasted. There's always something to see, always something to see, watch and learn. You'll never come back disappointed. There's always something new.
And I guess even if you don't see something, presumably you learn from that as well. It's like, oh well, conditions weren't
absolutely,
great.
Yeah,
so...
yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's always so many variables. Always learn something, even if it's a new set of tracks you found going through a different gap under a different hedge. Yeah, so it's always more often than not the small things you learn and notice.
Yeah, that
can make the difference next time.
Makes sense, definitely. And one of the things you've done a lot of, or you get kind of pigeonholed of a little bit, is the foxes. But
yeah.
So how did you get the foxes used to you? Because you're not using bait, are you? I think everyone probably assumes, oh, he's just chucking out a chicken's anus or whatever. But you don't do that, do you?
No. Graveyard foxes. From the moment I started working there, and when I first met Anne, the original fox, the OG of the graveyard.
So they've all got names, have they?
Yeah. Anne, I first met her, and just straight away, I don't know why, but was fine with me being around. I worked with her for a little while, maybe a couple of months before I found that she had cubs. They were fine with me from the off, and it was from then that I decided if I'm going to work with urban foxes in this little kind of small area of the graveyard, I was not going to feed them, because it was something I could see from the start that could be a long-term project. I wanted it to be, I wanted a relationship built around mutual respect, intrigue, and I think that, well, at the time I thought that would show through the photographs I was getting, and it has proven to be the case.
Yeah, well, I'm lucky that Dan's taken me out to see these foxes, and it's all, I mean, you probably know this better than me, but they want to see you.
Yeah.
They come up to, they're going out of their business to come and say, oh, here's big old friendly Dan. Let's go say hello to Dan. And it was just mental watching that with you.
Yeah, whenever I post on my socials little videos and things of them coming over to me, or I'll be walking around the graveyard and they'll be walking up behind me, just following me round, and I say that they do, like you just said, come out of their way to come and see me. I always get messages like, oh, what, are you feeding them? Like, nope, I never wanted to, because I didn't want to be seen as just a food source. I wanted them to actively come and go out of their way to find me and spend time with me. And I've achieved that through it wasn't the easiest way of doing it. It took a lot. I think I'm in my 4th year with them this year, and it took a lot of time. Just sat down there without my camera sometimes on miserable, wet and windy Sunday evenings in the winter when it gets dark about 3:30. It was the long road, but it's paid dividends in the long run.
Because I guess with food, presumably the foxes will just come in, grab the food and fuck off. They've got no reason to stay once they've got the food. More or less, as is often the case.
Yeah, and like for example, I know some people scatter handfuls of peanuts and dog food out in front of foxes in some situations like that.
To get them to stay longer, sort of thing.
Yeah,
right.
And
okay.
You can see in the resultant photographs that you can see the food on the ground.
Yeah.
And then just the poses they're doing, you just instantly know that they've got a mouthful of something.
Right. Okay.
And all of my photos have just been completely natural.
Yeah.
Just them wanting to be around me, and
What struck me was, is it Handsome? Is that
the boy Handsome?
One of the
big boy.
When he came in and he just curled up and went to sleep in front of you.
Yeah.
So he's obviously so comfortable with you.
Yeah.
That he's happy to sleep out in the open with you pointing a camera.
Yeah. And I was always told from a young age by my dad when we was creeping around when I was a nipper, creeping up on things. He said as soon as an animal falls asleep in front of you, knowing that you're there, you've kind of done a good job there and creeping up on it.
Definitely.
It's comfortable enough to close its eyes, which I imagine as a wild animal is probably not something you want to do too often when you know you're being crept up on.
Yeah, definitely. No, that makes complete sense. And if you look at your Instagram, if anyone, what's your handle again?
At Dan Rushton Photography.
So if you look at that, it is mostly foxes, isn't it? Like it is a
much,
sea of red. So what is it about foxes over all the, because you've done peregrines and deer and other stuff, but what is it about foxes that just gets you hard in the morning?
Wow. Yeah. That's the wrong way of putting it. Well, I've always been fox mad ever since I was a kid. I don't even know what it was as a child that made me so intrigued by them. Yeah, like I grew up in the countryside, completely immersed in it. Kind of Danny Champion of the World-esque. And I just couldn't get enough of watching them out in the wild, whether it be them just kind of a fleeting glimpse of them running across a field, finding some orange hair on a bit of barbed wire, watching them mousing in the hay meadows.
So for people that don't know, is that when they jump and pounce?
That's it. Yeah,
that's good.
Used to love watching them do that, and I learned from a very early age, again by my dad, showing me how to call foxes, and just having a fox come running straight at you, thinking it's going to get an easy meal.
Is that the thing with grass?
No, that's for deer. Calling a fox, you just do with your hand up against your mouth, pull an ugly face, and make a loud, horrible noise.
Go on then. Let's do. Can you do one? Can you do a fox?
On now.
Right. So that's not meant to be a fox, is it?
No. That's just a kind of small mammal distress sound, pretty much.
Right.
It sounds a lot like a rabbit, or you can kind of do it a bit quieter. It sounds like a little mouse squeaking.
I'm just expecting there to be a line of foxes. I'm just looking out. We're currently sat in Dan's living room. I'm just looking out the window because we did see a fox last night. Didn't we? We were walking out from the pub.
Yeah,
and we saw one. Yeah. So you never know.
We were sober. It wasn't a figment.
No, it was only 1 pint, wasn't it? So we should be...
It was actually just that taxidermy specimen on wheels that I photographed in the graveyard.
Oh, it's all coming out now, isn't it? And a lot of what not so much the foxes, I guess, but with other wildlife, you're using hides. So when you're putting a hide up, what are you looking for in a spot? Because I know you've done buzzards in the past. Is there like a perfect spot, or you just rock it up anywhere? Yeah,
well, the one good thing about using a hide is you can spend more time considering certain aspects, like obviously where the light's coming from, certain times of the day, the background. But as far as the position of the hide goes, you can pretty much put a hide anywhere, in my experience, and as long as it's there for long enough, wildlife just gets used to it.
And you're making the hide, or are you getting a pop-up?
My buzzard hide that I was working in last year was 3 pallets screwed together, blacked out inside with some black builder's membrane, I spray painted it, camouflaged it, and just spent a lot of time throwing a bunch of dead branches and leaves and bits and bobs around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was because that was for buzzards that needed to be like proper.
They're really spooky, aren't they?
Yeah. I was in the hide for 35 hours over a couple of weekends.
Jesus.
Before I took 3 photos, which come out really well. I was pleased with them. But then after that, I spent probably double that amount of hours following that.
It's a 10-hour average per photo.
Yeah, and got nothing for the rest of the winter.
Yeah, oh God.
But I have a manky old pop-up hide, which is just an absolute shambles nowadays. It's a disgraceful thing. I use that now and then, but yeah, I'm not very patient when it comes to sitting still in one spot.
No.
The way I've usually taken photos and got close to things is by putting the footwork in.
Yeah.
And creeping up on things. Yeah, I get a bit bored.
It definitely tests your patience, obviously.
Willpower.
Yeah. Oh God, it can be, especially in the winter. I've had the winters
shocking.
a lot.
Absolutely horrendous.
Because you're not moving, so you get cold so quickly, and when there's nothing happening, it is. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. Quite boring at times.
Yeah, very.
So, and if you're on your own, because I guess you're always on your own as well, aren't you?
I'm not a social thing particularly.
So yeah, it can be tricky. What are your thoughts on commercial hides? Let's go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, commercial hides. I get why people would want to go to them.
Yeah.
Almost. As like a quick fix. If you want to get a quick fix, fill your memory card, then fine, I suppose. But it's just never appealed to me. I just don't get it. I was talking at the pub about it. To me, the fun of it is setting up your own project.
Yeah.
The hours of work that goes into it before you take the photo, that's where the skill lies, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In taking the shot. But yeah, you wouldn't catch me giving my money to someone to sit in someone else's hide. Not a chance.
Just to clarify, so if people don't know what I mean by commercial hide, it's where you pay 150 quid or whatever for a hide that someone else has set up, which is, there's a fair few in the UK. In fact, we've had people on the podcast before about it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's not everyone's cup of tea, like you say. And we were even talking about this, like the skill. Like you could argue, there's not a lot of skill if you're the photographer, because everything's done for you.
Yeah,
which will suit some people down to a T. But yeah, it's not like, obviously what you've done is a huge amount of effort and
and I have nothing against the people that run these hides.
No, they've put a lot of work in.
They've got they put the work in and deserve to get paid for it at the end of the day in one way or another. And if people's willing to throw their money at these people, then good for them. Yeah. Take it.
Because really, if you wanted to, I know you don't own the grave. Well, why would you own a grave? But if you wanted to run workshops, you could probably make some quick money.
Yeah,
But
absolutely, yeah.
But you'd ruin it, wouldn't you? I guess.
Yeah. Nah, not a chance.
No.
I think I've taken you there, another photographer friend of mine, when I first met my foxes when they were cubs.
Yeah.
And I've taken Sam there once.
Oh, have you?
Yeah,
okay.
He popped down a couple of months at the start of the spring. We weren't taking photos, just took him down there to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no way I'd take it any kind of regular person I don't know down there.
Well, you'd lose control, and then you only need some idiot, and it would just
So as soon as I see anyone else walking through the graveyard, I kind of like, if you've got a camera, God help you. not that there's a single thing I could do, because it's a graveyard and anyone's allowed to go there, but yeah, I wouldn't be best pleased.
It's tricky, isn't it? What about flash? Thoughts on that? You don't really use it, do you?
No, never.
No.
I don't even own a flash gun.
No.
I have one camera body and I have one camera lens, and that's as far as my.
Well, not at the minute you don't.
Well,
do you?
no. I tell a lie. I've got 2 camera lenses and both of them busted now. I'm real good at destroying gear.
It's because you use it so much. Surely.
Well, that's it. Yeah, yeah. I take really good photos with it all the time. Wears it out. Also, 16 stone falling on it doesn't help. But yeah, I'm the most least technical minded person you will ever meet. I know what works for me. I shoot in aperture priority mode.
Yeah.
Never take it out of that.
No.
I adjust the ISO manually. Shoot on f4 pretty much constantly. And that's about it.
You've got your way of doing it.
Yeah,
yeah.
As far as...
Well, if you look at your Instagram grid, it's all very well sort of... It's the Dan Rushton style, I don't know what you call it. The Rushton effect or something like that.
I like that.
Yeah, you can have that. But with flash, I don't use it a lot, but I know some photographers are quite militant. Like they really hate people using flash.
Yeah.
And then others are a little bit more lenient on it. And I did hear a horror story about someone photographing an owl and it fell out the tree.
Oh, nice.
Because the flash just went... it didn't die. It just sort of got back up with a sore head.
Not ideal.
No, not ideal. So I think flash, in certain situations, fine. But again, I don't use it. Right, I'm like you. I'm not a technical photographer.
Nah.
The camera is an excuse for me to be outside, enjoying animals.
Yeah.
I'm not like 16 megabyte. Start touching myself. It doesn't interest me. Not
too into that.
Definitely. Any aspects of wildlife photography that get on your nerves?
Other photographers? Is that?
I'll go. Sorry.
That's a pretty big aspect of it that bugs me.
Yeah.
A lot annoys me, Jack. I don't really...
Kindred spirit.
Yeah, I'm just a bit of a miserable old sod these days.
One of the things that gets on my tits is self-glorification.
Yep.
So I'll give you an example. I was sat in a hide at a nature reserve near me, and there was a guy caked in Realtree. Obviously, he's caked in Realtree.
Camouflage, that's one.
And we were in hide anyway, so what the fuck does it matter? But I got in, sat down, and he turned the camera around and went, "Isn't this the best photo of a kingfisher you've ever seen?" I was like, "No, not really. I mean, I've seen better." And he was like, "What do you mean you've seen better?" I was like, "Well, yeah, I have." Yeah. And it wasn't that bad. It was just a kingfisher on a stick.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I would never do that. I would never take one of my pictures and say, "This is amazing. What you need to fucking spunk all over my photo and look." Like, I would just feel so cringe doing that.
Yeah. No, I don't think I've ever been out in the field and shown anyone anything from the back of my camera. No. It's just not even a thought that ever crossed my mind.
It's different. I don't get me wrong. I get that some people are proud. That's fair enough. But there are some people who just, I don't know, want the attention or whatever. Yeah. But you get it also online. Like there's the in-person thing, but you will get people just kind of shouting their own.
Yeah, for sure.
Patting their own back is probably the polite way of putting it. But I'm not a. Yeah. I'm my own worst critic. If there's
100%.
If there's a fault in my image, believe me, I know. I know it's there. I just don't give a shit.
Yeah. In the summers usually I sell photos at stalls at country fairs and things like that. And one thing I absolutely despise is camera talk. you can just see. You always spot them a mile off. It's usually some small little man dressed head to toe, like you said, in Realtree camouflage
at a country fair.
You see him come and you think, "Oh God, if I can't see you because you camouflage, I can smell you." and there they always come in, nose around. They're definitely never going to put their hand in their pocket.
No,
it's like, "What are you doing in here? Get out!" But it's just
like the crop sensor or the full frame.
Yeah, that's one. And getting told that a 300mm f2.8 is too big to handhold. Yeah. It's like, you tell me that when you built the size of a 10-year-old boy. Have a word with yourself. Too big to hold. And the one thing that really grinds my gears is when people say, "I got a photo like that," and then get their phone out.
Yes.
Like, "Oh, you cheeky bastard.
Yeah.
Are you joking?"
Yeah. Like, what Shocking. You go like, even if it is similar to yours, like,
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I've got 2 nipples, have you?
Yeah, but to be fair, I just don't like camera talk or if I'm somewhere and see someone else appear with a camera, I'm usually out of there. I just won't even bother hanging around. I'm like, nah, not worth it.
Have you done any talks to camera clubs? You ever done any of those?
No, I was meant to do one a couple of years ago on Fieldcraft, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
But the the lady that was organising it died, so Yeah.
That's one way of
She
getting
took
out of
that
it.
to the grave with her.
Yeah. Oh, God, Jesus. But,
in the nicest possible
yeah,
way.
no. But they're obviously pretty bad. They'll always be like, what do you think about auto white balance? And like, I don't know.
Didn't even know it was a thing, mate, to be fair.
It's like, it's all in raw. You can fiddle around with that afterwards,
I've been to a couple of camera club talks, and they just seem to be filled with the worst kind of people. The sort of people I would never ever want to talk to about photos, to be fair. They're mad for pixel peeping. And,
they're keen beans.
Very keen.
But perhaps unusually for a wildlife photographer as well, you started off, I don't know if shoot is the right word, but in that kind of world. And it was it a gamekeeping college you went to? Is that what
yeah, I went to Sparsholt College straight from school. I studied countryside management. But I grew up around shooting, field sports and things like that.
Do you think it influenced your photography in any way?
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. I know the whole shooting and bits and bobs like that is a very controversial subject, and it's something I don't do these days. I was employed as a gamekeeper, got out of it because within less than 2 years, I think, because I just wasn't into the whole culture. No. Not my thing whatsoever. But as far as influencing my photography at this point, years down the line, absolutely 100%. All of the Fieldcraft that I know that allows me to take the photos I managed to take is all based on the things I learned as a child. Yeah. Doing these sort of things with my dad and other people I used to go out with and work with. My grandparents owned a farm, smallholding in West Wales when we was kids. So all of our summer holidays and any free time we had, we'd be up on the farm. And for example, if there was a fox up there taking chickens that was then not able to lay eggs that my grandparents would sell at farmers markets, bits and bobs and like that, especially lambing season as well, something had to be done. Yeah. And it's not nice, but it's just something that it's tricky, because I understand why people have issues with wildlife getting shot. Yeah. And I'm not too keen on it now, to be fair, unless you are brought up that way and see things through a more, how to explain it, in that situation. Yeah. You're never going to be able to explain to someone who's not from that. No, different worlds, I guess. Yeah, exactly. And, it's a harder one. I mean, issues are rarely black and white. I mean, like, so if we take an example, say deer management. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to throw some stats at you. I'm going to pretend like I'm not reading this off my laptop. But in the UK, it's estimated that there are around 200 accidents involving deer every day. Yeah. 200 accidents. And 20 people are killed per year on average by road collisions with deer. They cause £4.5 million worth of damage to plantations and woodland, and £4.3 million damage to crops. So, I mean, there is a massive overpopulation with deer in the UK, and the only solution, or one solution, is to cull them. Yeah. Which it leaves a nasty taste in many people's many people's mouths. But, I just look at that stat. That's 20 people who are dead because of that, who, if there were less deer, wouldn't have died. Yeah, which you can't argue with that. No, surely. I know that, everything has a right to live. Mm-hmm. I mean, 4 of those, there are 6 species of deer in the UK. 4 of them are non-native. Yeah. Shouldn't even be here anyway. Yeah. And there are, you can put deer fences up in certain situations, and there are kind of non-lethal measures. But I think at the end of the day, sadly, a few of them got to get. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And you can eat them. It's not a waste. It's not like they're going in a stink pit. I mean, venison is bloody lovely. Yeah, it's one of my favourite meats for sure. It's not all. Yeah, I think everyone assumes the man with the gun is the bad guy, but life's not black and white. As I say on this podcast regularly, life is not black and white. It's shades of grey, and I think you've got to kind of go in with a slightly open mind with it. And growing up, coming from a rural background and involved in shooting and farming and things like that, but also being so passionate about wildlife, it was always very tricky to kind of make people see that the two aren't polar opposites. No, well, it's amazing how much that because I mean I work a lot with fishermen and then obviously wildlife people, but I get to see people who shoot as well. It's amazing how much they have in common. Yeah, so much in common,
but you've almost got that wall because you're like, well, I'm a shooter, so I'm not mixing with these vegan blah blah arsehole. And then you've got the other guys, the more wildlifey RSPB, whatever you want to call them, on the other side. And they're like, well, they're just killing stuff for the sake of it and shooting hen harriers. And it's like they've already got these preconceived notions, so they're going in with their backs up almost.
Both sides are more or less blinded by their own bias. They're as bad as one another.
That's a great
on both
way of putting
sides.
it. Yeah.
They're as bad as one another. It's not something I ever really openly talk about unless asked about shooting when I was younger and bits and bobs like that.
Yeah.
And occasionally I still do, but that's pure. Anything that I do take is for food these days.
It's for the table.
Yeah. But when I was younger, I was at college studying countryside management. I'd done countryside management because all I wanted to do was work for the RSPB or the Wildlife Trust.
Yeah.
And I worked as a voluntary ranger or warden for both charities down here in Dorset. Yeah, it was just very hard to make the two sides of the coin work together.
Yeah.
It was very, people just couldn't see that you could do both.
And I guess if there's no dialogue, nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
You've got to both come to the table and sort something out. If you're not going to talk,
it's funny because the amount of times that I get messages about my fox photos. And so, you've got such a brilliant relationship with them. I don't see how people could ever hurt them. Blah blah blah. And then they're almost, in some cases, rightly so, berating people that do hurt wildlife. For example, fox hunting. Not keen.
No.
Like, what is the point? It's just an excuse for rich idiots to get away with breaking the law.
Yeah.
It's not cool. But then you get people saying this and berating people that have shot a fox before. And then in my mind, I'm thinking, you're saying all these things that about me, to me, well, you love the foxes, this, that and the other. It's very clear that I do love me foxes down in the graveyard and any other fox I've ever photographed. But then on the flip side of that coin, I have killed foxes.
Yeah.
So is that not clear? Like, does that not show people that the two can maybe coexist? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's even hard to get across with words.
Yeah, I know. I can see you stumbling a bit. But I guess when you've done that, again, you've not done that for pleasure.
No,
you're not. It's not like you're not going out to shoot that fox. I'm going to kill a fox and put its head on my wall. Presumably, that's because that fox was, like you said earlier, like eating chickens. I don't know, some sort of being a potential problem for something, I guess.
Yeah, but then even so, people say it's no reason to kill anything.
Yeah.
Which I get. I see it. The older I get, the more I'm probably more leaning toward the left with that sort of sentiment.
Yeah. It's a tricky one, and I guess unless people are, like you say, if they're not from that world, it's going to be very difficult to make them understand.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and going back to the Fieldcraft aspect of it, and the way it's kind of developed in my style of photography. If I hadn't have done all of that from pretty much my earliest memories, then I don't even imagine I would have ever picked up a camera, because I wouldn't have been getting half as close to anything as I ever have done.
No.
And not to toot my own horn, but I don't think there's really that many people doing wildlife photography out there that have come from a kind of similar background, to be fair. I've never met anyone. No
one's who's open about it.
Yeah.
You know, there might very well be, but I don't know anyone who's like, well, I used to shoot wildlife, and then I've gone into more with slightly more the camera side, but I'm not aware of anyone.
No.
I guess perhaps because they're a little bit frightened of backlash. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the point is, I guess as well, this isn't a living for you, is it?
No.
I hate using the word amateur because it makes you sound lesser, but because all amateur means is that's not your income. Doesn't mean you're not good, because Dan's photography is absolutely phenomenal, and then when you see people who do make a living out of it and they're fucking shite, so it's being an amateur is not necessarily an insult. It just means that you don't make your coppers from it.
If anything, it just kind of bit of pocket money, bit of beer money.
Yeah.
Now and then, I try to make it pay for itself. As far as the equipment costs, which in my
You've got to sell a few prints, haven't you?
Yeah. My case is quite a lot of money, replacing busted bits of gear, because I'm also a pretend adult, because I'd have no form of insurance.
Oh, God.
So, yeah.
That's not
great.
Your heart sinks a bit.
Yeah.
If you haven't guessed by Dan's accent, he's a Dorset. What do you call someone from Dorset? That's a bad setup for a joke, isn't it? But
yeah.
Dorsonian? No.
Hero.
Just all-time legend.
Dreamboat.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, I'll try not to swoon too much over you. But you've lived in Dorset pretty much your whole life.
Yeah, my whole life, yeah.
And you've not done a lot of photography outside of it, really, have you?
No, cairngorms, and that's it.
That's it. So, is there a UK species that you'd like to photograph that you haven't yet?
Yeah, plenty. I would love to photograph merlins. Up in Shetland.
Yeah, they're tiny little things.
Yeah, we get them passing through the harbour in the winter. I see them quite regular during the winter. I've taken one shocking photo of it from about a mile away. A little male come
because that's certainly not a commercial thing, is it? Because I don't know how many people would want to buy a photo of a merlin. Yeah. Not to knock merlins.
Yeah.
I could see you getting red in your eyes and kick the shit out of me. But yeah, I mean, I guess Joe Public's probably never even heard of a merlin.
No, no. Yeah, I'd like to get some good shots of some merlin. I don't really have a bucket list of of wildlife. I just whatever's there.
Yeah,
it's fine by me.
That's probably a better way to be, because you're not obsessing. You know, like exactly, you see some birders and they're almost sweating from the they see like it's a ring.
Because I've barely ever left the Shire, to be fair. I don't like going places. I like the familiar, and here in Dorset, especially where I am on the south coast, we're so spoiled for choice. We've got a bit of everything. We've got the lowland heath.
Yeah.
We've got ancient woodlands. We've got the Jurassic coast right on the doorstep.
It's one of my favourite counties, Dorset. There's so much here. You know, you've got, like you say, sea, land, everything.
Yeah, and the accent is just to die for.
Well, you know what? I never knew what, because I've only ever met people from Dorset who are relatively upmarket, shall we say. Oh. So I didn't realise that Dorset had a different side.
What a shock!
When it's like it's full on West Country, really, isn't it?
Let's not say West Country. We don't.
Would you not consider it West Country?
I don't know. No, personally not. You say West Country, there, you savages that just eat rotten apple juice. No, we don't. We're different.
I don't know, mate. You've got a bit of a twang. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we've got at least something in between our ears down here in Dorset. Further west you go, you're not too sure.
And on that note, disparaging a few of our listeners, we'll leave it. But look, pleasure to chat to you, buddy.
Always. Cheers.